operators are always going to flock to where there is supply, and where, if there are benefits to going in locations where the grid application process is easier or less congested. Mel, I don't know if you want to speak about Dublin, but obviously Dublin has been historically and probably remains up until recently a very popular market. But is there now a sort of a moratorium of sorts? And I know it's obviously Singapore has seen that recently, but whether that's still in place in Dublin.
Yeah, I think that's the moratoriums is still in place. There's significant grid congestion in and around Dublin, with and similar to London, it's a centre of high demand, but not very high on generation. But there is a sort of an increasing trend where data centers are starting to locate away from the largest population areas. So, for example, we've seen ones start to pop up in Mayo, Galway, Cork, in Ireland, and I think that also sort of reflects that there's an increasing demand for sort of varied internet exchange points, and points of presence. So yeah, it's sort of a trend that I see potentially continuing.
The sort of machine learning aspects of AI, I think it's, we know that those are going to be less latency dependent, and so it sort of invites operators to explore sort of secondary and tertiary markets that aren't as proximate to end users, and sort of leverage that for those types of AI facilities.
I'm going to see massive increases in capacity needs for the rollout of AI, but I think at some point maybe that growth might be curbed by those power supply challenges. Without that capacity that's available to power them, the need for that power, and potentially locating in areas of high renewable generation, it basically means that you're going to have to start to locate away from the centres like London and Dublin, closer to the sources of that power. And I think that difficulty in sourcing power supply could also then help drive the growth of the edge data centres, because they have a much sort of smaller and local footprint.
Whether we will see, the edge sort of deals, at the moment we tend to work on the sort of larger hyperscale facilities because ultimately the investment return for that type of site is much greater, and it's no secret how much private equity firms are becoming sort of more increasingly interested in the space, and piling billions into acquiring the operators. But it'll be interesting to see, because it seems like the edge data center could be quite key to sort of unlocking some of the issues that we're seeing in terms of sort of not having large enough sites close to end users.